on Facebook. Hey, you guys, look at that. We are live everywhere. Everything is there, right? So, hey to you guys here on Facebook and my YouTube channel at Couch with Christian. I've already said hey to you guys, and there's my notification on my phone on Instagram telling me that we're going live on YouTube. My son has been trying to train me to be able to say, listen, Mom, you got to tell people to go out, hop out of your live, go right now, subscribe to my YouTube channel. The links are in my bio, and they are also on my website. So if you guys want to follow me on my YouTube, then there's a chance for you to do that as well. Listen, I'm back. It's your girl, Christian Jackson. It's Wellness Wednesday with CJ, me, the Daddy Issues expert. I'm really excited to have some new faces here, hopefully live on Facebook. I made some contact with some people. Interact with me. Let me know what's up or what questions you may have as we dive into Wellness Wednesdays. What is Wellness Wednesdays? As a licensed therapist, I am adamant about making sure that people are having this access to information that you don't normally get. Maybe you're on the fence about therapy. Maybe you don't understand what therapy looks like or what this whole mental health movement is, but Wellness Wednesday is really your place to be. So if you have not watched all of my Wellness Wednesdays up until this point, you can go back in the archives right there on Instagram, on my IGTV. You can go back and see all the posts on my Facebook and YouTube. I usually pin the most recent Wellness Wednesdays to the top of the Facebook page. So you got all this time to go back and pretty much binge watch. So if you're here, I see you guys trickling in. Please comment, interact with me. That's one of the most engaging things and most fun things to do when I'm doing public speaking or stuff like this. So I'm really excited. I see a new subscriber on YouTube. Thank you, Carmen. I appreciate it. And so why do I call myself the Daddy Issues expert? Y'all, I wrote the books on it. And because I know we have some new supporters, I've gained a few followers over the last couple of weeks while I was out on vacation. I want to tell you who I am. I'm a licensed therapist here in South Carolina, and my charge is to help Black women feel safe, because it is our time to address and be brave and use our vulnerable courage to address these traumas that we've been through. I say Black women because that is usually who comes to me and who I attract, right? But of course, the movement is for everybody, right? The Daddy Issues movement, it is time for us women to heal, because there are some things that come to mind, and you guys can comment below live. You can comment when you watch the replay. What is it that comes to mind when you hear the word daddy issues or the term daddy issues, right? What do they say about women with daddy issues? These books are what I call a labor of love, frustration, like really my own trauma, right? As I went to therapy, I worked out a lot of things with my therapist, journaling and stuff, which we as therapists ask our clients to do to really kind of work some things out. And the book was born. There was a lot of content that I was able to put together based on the things that I was able to come to terms with as I dealt with my own difficult relationship with my father. Unfortunately, we're not speaking right now, and I'm praying that that changes. But really, you're going to get to know me as a therapist. We're taking that hat off, right? You'll get to know my story about my dad. And then I'm painting pictures of what daddy issues looks like for the many, many women I have treated over the years in individual therapy as I have been doing this thing. And so in the beginning of the book, you get a diagnosis that I've made up based on what I've seen and experienced, right? So women with daddy issues are dealing with abandonment and rejection issues and self-esteem and relationship issues and trust issues. And for me, it was identity. So I compiled this diagnosis together. And if you follow me on Instagram and or the Facebook page, you'll see all the content where I lay out what the daddy issues symptoms are. And really, the movement is to help us have a language far beyond, oh, she's a whore, she likes old men, she's gonna be alone for the rest of her life and put her walls up and not trust people. And we're going to get into that later. I am giving you language beyond those things because it is devastating to me that as women, we get a bad rap in the first place, but especially women with daddy issues, we have the worst, right? Because we have so much of a negative connotation on who we are and what that means for us and how we show up in relationships, how we show up with our friends, our family, our coworkers, all those things, right? So we're looking at what does daddy issues look like, first of all. So in the beginning of the book, I'm laying the foundation. I'm talking about attachment issues, which is basically a way of saying, how do we show up in relationships? What is my role and how did my partner experience me? Am I anxious? Am I needy? Am I clingy? So I'm giving you language again, like what does the gold digger look like in the clingy type? We're talking about prototypes and categories of all these women to see if you can connect. I'm giving you stories of women that I have dealt with and worked through stuff with. And the rest of the book is really just taking a turn of really looking at what daddy issues looks like in these various relationships. And so in between each chapter, I have what we call speed bumps, where I give you an opportunity to breathe, right? It's some heavy stuff that we're talking about. We're talking about some triggering things, and we're talking about daddy issues, right? So it's so important for you to take some time to self-reflect. There are questions in there for you to sit and process on your own. There are activities that are really heavy on the self-care piece, which I'm going to get in a little bit later. But the book is chock full of things, and it comes with its sister. Oh, here it is. The sister, where you get to expand upon the things that are already in the book, but you get more room to journal. And of course, I have extra treats in here in the workbook. So if you wanted to right now, go to my website and come right back and join the conversation, or just put a pin in it. I'll remind you at the end to go to couchwithchristian.com. If you're watching right now on Instagram, then you can go to my link in my bio, and it'll take you straight to my website so you can purchase your books. And you'll also get to see right there on the homepage how you can become a part of the Daddy Issues Healing Circle, which is an 8-week program that is based on the workbook, right? So I had to cram. I don't want to say cram because it sounds irresponsible, like I just put a whole bunch of stuff together, but really I had to condense, I'll say, this book that is chock full of things into 8 weeks, right? Because 8 weeks is a long time, but it really went by really fast because the 6 women who signed up for the Daddy Issues Healing Circle were amazing in it, and they were super vulnerable, and we held space for each other and made it a space for us to be able to trust, right? And so the Daddy Issues Healing Circle wrapped a couple of weeks ago at the end of June, and we were able to, from one week to another, really comb through the things, right? So the way that it works is we met virtually, and there was a chance for us to meet in the Facebook group that is exclusive. So I have an Overcoming Daddy Issues group for anyone who wants to be a part and kind of be a part of the conversation. There are a couple hundred women in that, but then there's another group that is exclusively for the women in the Daddy Issues Healing Circle, where we have access to each other and we can kind of talk about stuff in between each group. So it's an amazing resource. And so what comes with the Daddy Issues Healing Circle is not only the group that's 2 hours, it used to be 90 minutes, but after we kind of got into some things and people started becoming comfortable and sharing, we decided we needed more time. And so that's what we did. And so it was really exciting for us to have that extra time together during the week. In between groups. People know me, they can text me, you'll have access to me, it's all good. So the Daddy Issues Healing Circle right now, the roster, I'm opening up applications again. It is really important for us to make sure that we make it safe for everyone. So when I say applications, it's really a chance for us to catch each other's vibes. We set up a video chat. Oh, thank you. It is amazing. I appreciate you. On Instagram here. Let's see. S Forward Hopes. Thank you so much. The group is very powerful. I'm not going to leave you hanging. And it's so amazing to watch the group run itself because everyone is serious about their healing. I'm opening up applications again for us to, again, consult with each other, catch each other's vibes, make sure that it's appropriate for you in this stage in your life. And then we keep it moving, right? So the Daddy Issues movement it's grassroots right now, right? Again, I'm trying to give women a new language to break the stigma that comes with daddy issues. Again, what do you think about? And you can put the comments below. I see you guys trickling in. What do you think about when you think about or hear the term daddy issues? So I write blogs, right? I'm going to switch gears and get into our subject for tonight because I don't really keep us very long here on Wellness Wednesdays. Unless, of course, you want a dialogue as we're here together. But just make sure that we got our thinking caps on tonight. And if anything is triggering for you, take care of yourself. That's a huge piece of the work that I do when I'm working with women in the healing circle, right? And so the words that come to mind when you hear the term daddy issues, put them in the chat if you'd like. They're not all very nice, right? So again, my goal is to give people a new perspective as looking to help us see and look at women with daddy issues, quote unquote, as women who are dealing with emotional trauma. Right. So I got to tell a little piece of my story. I do share it in the book, but I got to say a lot of my healing journey was halted because I thought that the only way I would be okay is if my father apologized to me. Right. And Carmen in the comments on Facebook says she thinks about promiscuity. And that is literally one of the prototypes of the categories I write about in my book. And thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. The book cover was designed by some amazing named Jen. She was pretty cool. And so promiscuous type is one of the women that I talk about in the book, right? Who is this woman Where is she coming from? Why is she even responding or showing up in relationships that in that way, right? So thank you, Carmen. And so one of the things that I thought again was, I'm not going to be okay unless my daddy says he's sorry. Right. That was a huge piece that I was hung up on when it came to me dealing with my daddy issues. And so I tell my clients all the time, and I know this, right? If our healing or our growth is contingent, meaning it depends on somebody else, then we're already out of luck, because we're putting a lot of stock into someone else doing their work, which they're probably avoiding, for us to be okay. So what you're going to find in the books and in the healing circle, we walk through an acronym that I call GRACE. And I'm going to give you some homework. Go back and look at older videos, catch up, get to know me, look at the content. GRACE is part of the major key to overcoming daddy issues. And what that really means is getting to know your symptoms, making sure that you are rescripting your messages, thinking about that person in your head. In this case, I'm talking about the father, right? Even though, of course, we know that's just a piece of the puzzle. I happen to talk about daddy issues here tonight, but I really had a hard time with my journey because I just knew that I wasn't going to be okay unless daddy blah, 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 right? And so that really held me up for a very long time. It wasn't okay. And so I wanted to make sure that as I talk about women with daddy issues, again, quote unquote, what does that look like? And to me, a lot of what I learned when I was doing my work is that I needed to apply appropriate responsibility. I write about it in my book. I don't talk about my daddy specifically. He has his, I just say that he has his own trauma and drama, I guess, if we're going to be frank, to really work through and want to acknowledge himself before he can really give what he didn't get, right? So that's a really important piece of at least applying the appropriate responsibility. So the first, I want to give you guys affirmations, because all we hear are negative things when it comes to women with daddy issues. We don't look at us as women who are dealing with trauma. So what we're talking about tonight is the other side of that. This is just the sentence that we're going to finish tonight, right? If I do my work and I've done my healing work, I've done my journey, I've gone into the healing circle, I've read Christian's books, I'm doing some coaching with her, I've done all the things. Once I've done that and I come out on the other side, then I'm more aware. And that's a lot of what the feedback I've gotten after doing some surveys for the women in the group. You become aware of things at the very least. So we're going to say that women with daddy issues are accountable. And if you're watching on Instagram, you can go back on Facebook if you want to listen again, and you get to see on the screen what everybody on Facebook and YouTube are seeing. But accountable, right? Women with daddy issues who have worked through them, right? Because we have them. It's just like we have to integrate those triggers into our lives. And that's a whole different talk. But it really just means we live with it. We acknowledge it, we accept it, but we don't let those symptoms take over, right? We don't let them control us. And so as women who have worked through their daddy issues, that's what I want to say. We are accountable for our response to situations, right? And so a lot of the time when I'm doing some work, it's so important for us to keep in mind that part of the journey is that we're going to come face to face with things that we don't like, even if it means stuff about ourselves. But ladies, as we are working through our daddy issues, we have got to hold ourselves accountable. I, for one, have to say, Christian, like, you can't just be sitting here thinking that your healing is going to be only done if your daddy fill in the blank. I don't know if any of you guys in the comments or out there in the audience watching live with me, I appreciate you, have felt that, right? You really believe that as a woman with daddy issues, or as someone who's been hurt by, let's just say anyone, you fill in the blank, that it's their fault that I'm this way. But if you've done your work, you've come to the healing circle with me, you've read my books, you know the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, you already know we are not going to blame our fathers for everything, right? Yes, our village is very influential, right? They shape our values, who we are, the way we see things, the way we operate. But what we're not going to do as women who are working through our stuff, our daddy issues, we're not going to sit here and blame our daddies, y'all. We're not going to do that, okay? We're not going to sit here and just say, okay, well, I am 35 years old and still in these negative relationships only because of my daddy, right? Like that's a loaded statement. right? We know that our fathers, in the book, it outlines, right, like how the influence has really in an early developmental stage impacted our view of relationships, right? But we at some point have to have responsibility for what we're doing, right? So after you do your work, you realize the connection. You've joined the group. We've had this conversation in the dating and daddy issues group, and the dating and the daddy issues in dating and the daddy issues in marriage group. We know that those are things, but we're not going to put all of the blame on our father, because we have to be accountable. So after doing our work and us fleshing out that stuff, you will be a woman who is holding herself accountable to situations, right? We're applying appropriate responsibilities, because women who are mature emotionally, who have done their work and have increased their self-care, are like, yo, like, I understand that was something that my daddy taught me, and sometimes it comes up, right? But that's on me. I knew better. I work with Christian. We was in group. We was kicking it. We was talking about it. And I know, like, it comes up for me, but I don't have to react in that way. And it's not because of my daddy. I can unlearn all those things, right? So women with daddy issues are not going to just put all the blame on someone. Another thing that I want to say, our second point for tonight, is that women who have healed and worked through their daddy issues are resilient, right? We know how to pivot, bro. And this, I want to say, I've talked about fight or flight in previous videos. So I want to just point out that there's a bit of a dichotomy here. I want you to look at this in a couple of ways. We're resilient. We know how to pivot, meaning if something goes wrong or not our way and kind of throws us off, we know how to get it back up on our feet. And part of that might just be fight or flight response, right? We're in a situation. We know that, maybe I met this person. I want to be romantic. I want to be your friend. And somehow you triggered me and you hurt me. But you know what? Get back up. We're resilient. We know how to bounce back, right? And so when you do the work specifically around daddy issues, right? And we're in the healing circle and we're doing the work and we're talking about how to do that in a healthy way. One that's not coming from a space of trauma and fear and just wanting to survive from one moment to the next, right? When I say we're resilient, it means if I'm a woman with daddy issues, right? I've done my work. My symptoms are in remission, quote unquote, right? I've had them under control because I've gone to the healing circle. Then if something triggers me and it's triggering my daddy issue symptoms, right? Then I can bounce back. I know what that means. So instead of us looking at women who have had difficult relationships with their fathers and we're looking at them as people who just want to be down and negative all the time and just choose this partner after that and they're the same and all of that, think about the fact that we have made it work to an extent, right? We've been able to get through this thing and make sure that we are holding ourselves accountable. That's our first point from tonight. And that we are bouncing back in a way that makes sense for us. And in the healing circle, what we're doing is redirecting and making sure that's a healthy way of us bouncing back, making sure that we are in a space where we are aware of what those symptoms are. And we are in a space where we're like, okay, how do I get to feel better? What does that look like for me? Because they say that about kids all the time, right? It's literally our brains making new waves. And so what we talk about when we're doing trauma work is the fact that our brains, they like to say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, quote unquote. But in science, just a little brain science, little nerdy stuff here, our brains are plastic. And I wrote a blog about that on my website as well. It is not true that once you are in this space, after dealing with something pretty difficult, that you can't learn a new way to deal with stuff, right? So that's where resilience comes in. It means that if you have gone through a certain trauma, like emotional trauma dealing with our fathers, right? That for a while we've done certain things to protect ourselves. I know I need to deal with this kind of person in this kind of way. I feel safe operating in this manner, right? And for a while it's rigid because it makes sense for us. But when you do the work, and you realize, okay, there's actually a different way I could think about this. I don't have to not trust people. I can actually create a safe connection with someone who reminds me of my dad who hurt me and kind of recreate that, right? I can actually have a healthy relationship. That is called resilience, y'all. That's called creating a new dent in your brain, and it gives you a different out, right? Instead of the one that we're safe with, the ones that we know, right? So as women who have done our work and we're in recovery from our daddy issues, we are accountable because we don't blame our fathers for everything. We do not do that. We don't do that in our 30s. We know what's up. We know how we react. We hold ourselves responsible and we apply appropriate responsibility, and we're resilient. We know that there is a different way to handle the hurt and the pain that we have dealt with, right? And then lastly, our third point, and I'm only going to give you these little tidbits because I really want you to come back and comment on what you believe comes from being on the other side and doing our work, right? I want you to comment below. We'll have a dialogue and a conversation. And I want you to go back to my website and also read what I put there, right? You can comment there as well. And please share. So our last point is that we are steadfast in the mission to feel better. Y'all, this is another time where we got to think about the dichotomy here, right? Women who are in recovery from their daddy issues are steadfast in their mission to feel better, meaning that we are, by any means necessary, sometimes gung-ho on dealing with our trauma. Like, I don't want to feel this pain, walls up. I don't want to feel this rejection or this abandonment. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to smoke some weed. I'm going to do what I need to do to get through this night, because I'll be damned if I'm going to go through this again. Because that's what trauma has taught us. It says, by any means necessary, Christian, it doesn't matter. We don't like the way this feels, right? Take this, put that hat on of you protecting yourself. That's us operating out of fear, right? And so we are steadfast in feeling better and literally just doing the natural thing, y'all. Our bodies are made to heal. What we want to do when we are in distress or in duress or in danger is to get to a space where we feel safe, when we're okay, right? And so that is such an important, crucial piece for us to know when we think about trauma on all different levels, is when I'm in a space where I don't feel safe. And for trauma survivors who have like PTSD symptoms, you literally think you're going to die. That is what trauma feels like. That's what a flashback feels like. I dealt with a lot of women who have unfortunately been sexually assaulted. They have been people have been in bad car accidents. I've dealt with people who have dealt with all kinds of different levels of trauma in my work over the years. I'm a trauma specialist, and so it's my jam. And so literally that's what they describe. It's like, your body's remembering what that looks like. And so if you have a tendency to do something to feel better, whether it's healthy or not, please know your body is aware, your body remembers that trauma, and all it's doing is trying to heal and be okay, right? And so there's a healthy way to do that, and then there's an unhealthy way to do that. And we know what they look like, we know what they are. We're not here to pass judgment. We're just saying, when we're in duress or stress and we feel like we're going to die, our brain's like, yo, sis, let's be okay. How do we be okay, right? So if we're in recovery from daddy issues, right, and we're trying to get to a space where we have done our work, we've joined the group, we've met Christian, we've done all the things in the group, we read the books, and I'm on the other side of this thing, I've integrated my symptoms in my life, my daddy issue symptoms, meaning that I get triggered, but I don't get all the way down, right? If I'm in recovery as a woman with daddy issues, and I am steadfast in my mission to feel better, meaning I know how to find a therapist. Christian is on the IG and on the interwebs, and I have helped connect several random people I don't know to a therapist in their area, right? And so I know how to find a therapist. I know how to follow a therapy page. I know how to find a meditation, a guided meditation on my Headspace app, which now has a Netflix. This is not an ad, but it's really great. But I know what to do, right? I'm steadfast. I'm not going back to how I felt. I know how to do that in a healthy way. So women who have been in recovery from the daddy issue symptoms are accountable. We're not blaming daddy. We are resilient. We can bounce back because we are strong, and we are steadfast. And those are the only three I'm going to give y'all tonight, because again, as the juices are flowing and I've mentioned these things, I'm hoping that y'all can add to the list. One thing that I learned, and I'm going to take these glasses off because Lord child, this glare. One thing I've learned in the group and that I appreciate so much about group is that I call myself the daddy issues expert, right? It's a marketing thing. Hopefully it's caught your eye, right? But you are the expert in your lives. And the thing that I value the most when I'm working with anyone individually or in group is that you bring so much to the table. And y'all, when I tell you the Daddy Issues Healing Circle is super dope, mainly because I got to learn so much from the other women's perspectives. And they've added so much already to my books, and we joked about it, but it's going to be Daddy Issues 2.0. There's so much I need to add in this book after having live conversations with women who are serious and steadfast in their mission to feel better, who are now aware and doing better at holding themselves accountable and resilient, right? Came back to group every week. Even if it was hard, you knew you got Monday night with Christian and the girls, right? That is what I value the most and I love about group, and knowing that we are all in this thing together. And even if we are in this space where we're trying to heal ourselves, and things come back and we're like, oh crap, I thought I did that work. It's not a bad thing, right? It's okay if we're in that space to say, I just need a tune up. And that's what I call it when I go to my own therapist. I'm on the probably monthly plan by now. I'm okay for right now, right? But if something comes up again, because I can hold myself accountable for the way that I feel, I know where to find my therapist, right? And so thank you, Spring, for the counseling on Instagram. I appreciate that. I hope that you guys have learned how to get in touch with me and just peruse my pages, get to know me and my content, add to the content, comment, engage with me, because this daddy issues movement is something that I am really trying hard to get some major eyes on, because this work I know I've been doing for years individually in therapy with my clients, I just packaged it together and put it all here for you. I like to say that the two things together are like about a year and a half of therapy all together, right? And I just put it here for you for less than $50, y'all. So I'm just saying the group is going to take it to the next level. If you feel like you're ready and you want to join the Daddy Issues Healing Circle, go to my website. Let's set up a chat. You can go to the bottom of the home page and you can apply to get a link where I will just send you a good time for us to have a video chat, because I'm fully aware and believe in the fact that we need to catch each other's vibes and make sure you're safe. The Healing Circle is going to be, right now it's slated for July 26th. I would really love to start it right away here so we can go into September and then possibly get in like an intensive before the end of the year. And so right now we have no one officially signed up. I've had 2 consultations. And so think about where you are as far as investing in yourself, ladies, right? So we get the lashes done and our hair done and all the things. It's so important for us to save the coins and get on this payment plan to be in the Healing Circle with Christian, because that's the work that's going to last, right? My lashes will last me about 2 weeks at a time. Your nails will last you a week and a half or so at a time, right? But this is the work that lasts and will make sure it's sustaining all the things we talked about. If we want to be on the other side and be in recovery from daddy issues and be resilient and accountable and steadfast in our healing and all the things you guys are going to comment about later, let's get into this healing, y'all. Let's make it a thing for you so that you are adding and pouring into the people that are going to be joining you in the group. I would love to start it again. Like I said, it's slated to begin July 26, 2021, which is actually a day before the birthday of my book. I dropped my book almost a year ago, y'all. And so please hit me up on the DM. Go to my website. You can email me at info@couchwithchristian.com, and we can get together and figure out if you're a therapist who you want to refer. I actually had a couple of therapists in my last group, and so it was amazing for them to be vulnerable and open and even think about who they want to send as their clients or from their caseload to me. So that was amazing. And so hopefully I can get them on here for a live so that you can hear from a therapist perspective, from one professional to another, who's appropriate for the group. If you are wanting to know directly from the mouth of one of the women who was in the group how it was, I interviewed her 2 weeks ago. Her name is Nia. Come to my Facebook page, find me at Couch with Christian. The page is going to feature all of the Wellness Wednesdays. So just go back and look for my lives. And I interviewed live one of the women who actually participated in the group. So if you want to know from more than me what that looks like and how she enjoyed the group, please go back and watch that video. That was again from 2 weeks ago. And the last thing I want to ask of you guys is a favor. Okay, so if you guys follow Jasmine Sullivan, the singer, okay, she has a project that she dropped earlier this year, like back in January. And so it's called Hotels. And when I tell y'all, I have used that project in therapy repeatedly all year, because the songs on there are really just a matter of digging into the stories of a lot of women and their dating experiences and things like that. It's a great project, right? So yesterday she dropped a video and it said daddy issues, right? And I'm like, y'all, I have to be a part of this thing. I need to collaborate with Jasmine Sullivan. I've already hit her up and said, hey sis, how can we collab and do something? Because listen, your album is basically the lyrics to my book, right? So let's talk about how we can do that. I am trying to get Jasmine Sullivan's attention, okay? So what I'm asking you guys to do is to come on Instagram, follow Jasmine Sullivan, look at that video that she posted yesterday, and if you're seeing this a little later, go through her grid and look for the video that says Daddy Issues. And comment below and say, hey, do you know that Christian Jackson at Couch with Christian at me on Instagram wrote the book on daddy issues? Don't you think you need to hit her up? She'll send you a book. So I put it here up on the screen. However, and whenever you see that, I have put it out to the Lord, to the universe, all the things, and ask God to just send me to Jasmine. Let's connect, right? So if you want to help me out, send her a message on Instagram. Tell her about me, send her my page, my website, whatever you need to do. I'm trying to get her attention because I really believe in the movement. It's a wholehearted movement. It's something that I know works and I've seen in action. And so if you'd like to, you can go to Jasmine Sullivan on Instagram and let her know I'm looking for her. Okay, let her know I'm trying to be down because I think we can really do some dynamic work together. She doesn't know it, but we're working together already. Okay, I told you I'll use hotels in my sessions, right? So thank you guys for tuning in to Wellness Wednesday. You can catch me if I'm not on vacation or sick or something right here, live, 7:15 every Wednesday night. Share with a friend. Let them know that you found me. I know we got some first-time guests here on Facebook and YouTube and here on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys go and catch up and binge and learn more about me. I'll do the same. I will engage with you on the interwebs. And I'm going to let y'all go. We don't keep it long, right? Let it marinate. Come back and comment and let me know what you guys think. Bye. Y'all have a great night.